What's up, everybody, and welcome to a brand new live episode of the Hot Mic. I am the Outlaw John Rocha, joined as always by the Sneider, who's a little bit in fuego today already. Before we start, Jeff, how are you? How are things?
Well, John, they've been better. But you know what? I feel fucking great. I feel so better than I have in a year.
Wow.
Because last year, I've been terrorized, basically, by my boss.
Ooh. Okay.
John, how much money would you say that he owes us?
We're in the thousands. I know that. We're in the thousands. Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I worked for a scumbag, and today, when I finally stood up for myself, after months of therapy, to get to that point, he threatened me. So you know what? I called him right back after he hung up on me and told him to go fuck himself.
Good.
And then I told him I'm going to sue the fucking shit out of him.
I like that. And who is this?
We won.
Go ahead. Say the same. Finish your thing.
Yeah, we're not going to get into it too much because we could spend hours talking about what an absolute grift piece of shit he is.
Sure.
My heart really went out to him with this strike and all, but like, holy shit, man! If you're going to own a business, you got to pay for the business. That's how it works. So my credit report is fucked. I can't buy presents for my family over the holidays because instead of getting a salary, I have to pay my staff with my money.
Wow.
So, yeah, we're going to have a lot to say about us and ours. But the first thing we're going to do, since we have a show planned, just symbolically. Goodbye.
What is that? Your whiteboard?
That is the above the line whiteboard, which used to be the above the line and the below the line whiteboard until Patrick, decided to take that away from me and cut my money in half, which again, it's his business. It's his prerogative.
Right.
See how these changes have helped below the line in the slightest, and got a call yesterday about how, certain people at certain websites aren't really doing their jobs. Why? Because no money's come in. Jeff still acted like a fucking professional.
Sure.
Like Pink and Reservoir Dogs. Jeff had a job to do and posted 3 stories today. But you know what? At some point, the fucking limit, you don't get the tab has to be paid at some point.
Yeah.
So anyways, we have a show today, folks, and John Rocha is going to introduce our first topic.
Fuck solidarity, man. Someone's got a red hot poker up our ass, and I just want to know whose name is on the handle. Yeah, it's a fair point. That's a fair point. We're going to get into a lot of things here on the Hot Mic. The Streamlabs and Superchats are open. Send in your support, send in your love, especially today from a man who has made some very powerful moves in his life. I support and stand by my brother as he's making moves to kind of get away from a toxic situation. Certainly, we know getting out from under toxic people is a positive thing to do, no matter what the price is in the end, for God's sakes, because your mental health is always important. So send in your Streamlabs and Super Chats as we go along. It's pinned in the chats, the description of the video. It's right up top, our heads as well. And we are going to get into all the stuff going on in the world of entertainment. Got some stuff that broke here just before we started the show. So let's start with that before we get into our big topic, which is the Julia Ormond conversation. Let's get into 3 things that broke here before we started. First of all, Chris Rock is doing a Martin Luther King biopic with Steven Spielberg producing. And this is going to be based on a book here, Jeff, that apparently explores some of the more, a more fleshed out portrayal of Martin Luther King, flaws, and all this is based on Jonathan Ives' biography, King, A Life, which is, quote, a courageous but emotionally troubled individual who demanded peaceful protest while grappling with his own frailties in a government that hunted him. That's the portrayal that they're looking to bring to the big screen here of Martin Luther King. So Chris Rock has directed 3 films before, Jeff. Top 5, Head of State, I Think I Love My Wife. I didn't like any of those movies, so I don't know necessarily that he would be my choice to direct an MLK biopic. But if you bring on Steven Spielberg as a producer, that can be a great guiding hand for a young director still kind of coming along as a director. What are your thoughts when you hear this news?
That was sort of the way that I thought of it. I mean, I think that Spielberg wants to make this movie.
Yes.
Right?
Okay.
but he can't.
Because he's a white guy. Exactly right. So he goes, let me find a black director and let me see what I can do. That's fair.
I think it's exactly that. And now I like Top 5. I actually think Chris Rock is an interesting choice as a director because he's not like, whether they hired Steve McQueen or, Ava DuVernay's obviously already done an MLK movie.
Right.
There's, Jordan Peele, whoever it was, like, I think you have some sort of idea of what that movie might be like.
Yeah.
Like, if Steve McQueen was doing it, it'd be like a traditional Oscar bait movie that you have in your head. And with Chris Rock, I don't know what to expect. And for some reason, I think it's a good thing. We haven't seen Chris Rock do a dramatic movie. And like I said, I like Top 5. I thought that showed some promise. It's been a while since, I'm actually surprised it's taken this long to get behind the camera again. Although, Chris Rock obviously could have probably done that whenever he wanted.
Yeah, true. Very true.
Voice. I think it's all going to, as with anything with Martin Luther King, a lot of it comes down to casting. And David Oyelowo did such a great job. Like, I can't believe he wasn't nominated for that movie.
In Selma, yeah.
Selma, yeah. Like, we'll see who they get. I mean, do you think they go with a star or like an unknown?
You know what's a shame? That slap by Will Smith automatically removes Will Smith from the equation, but Will Smith would have been an excellent choice to try to play Martin Luther King Jr.
What if it was still Will Smith?
I think this would be a great way to kind of mend the bridges.
I forgive you, my man.
Yeah.
And like you're the only person who can star in my movie. And like, let's mend fences and make this a moment of healing for the Black community. That'd be like, I should be a publicist. Well, why don't I pivot into that now that I am unemployed?
Yeah, I mean, Oyelowo could still come back and do it, I guess, because he's still kind of around the age of that. But of course, that was an interesting film, a smaller film. This I imagine, would be a bigger situation here. Maybe Spike Lee can help him figure out who to cast in his film here to play it, considering how great he was in picking Denzel to play Malcolm. Could be interesting to see that. And who will play Malcolm? Because if you're going to have a Martin Luther King, you got to have a Malcolm in the MLK movie. Who will play Malcolm in this movie? So a lot of questions there as well. But yeah, I don't know that anyone leaps to mind. I mean, Coleman Domingo is getting a lot of love, but he's a little bit maybe older than Martin Luther King was if you're going to do the life biopic. So I don't know if I know any actors right now that jump to my head that could play him that are currently doing stuff in movies necessarily. Because, Martin Luther King, a bit of a, not rotund, I would say, but certainly a guy of weight. So I don't know if I can think of any actors necessarily that come to mind to play him necessarily right now. I mean, Jeffrey Wright played him in the past, and he was nowhere near the physical body type for MLK. So it doesn't have to be a larger guy, but I can't think of anybody right now.
Yeah, I don't think I'm prepared right now to get into like a list of names. But,
would this redeem him?
Who? Will Smith?
John David Washington. Do you think John David Washington could play MLK?
No.
Oh. What about Yahya Abdul-Mateen? That's an interesting choice.
That is an interesting choice. He's a big guy, though.
Yeah. Brian Tyree Henry. Come on. That is a good one. Yeah. I kind of like that idea, actually. So, yeah. So we'll see what happens. That's going to be a little bit down the road, and we'll see if it actually comes to fruition, but certainly a nice move there. And we'll see. And I don't think I've ever seen, besides some, I've never seen a really, really good MLK biopic. And so it'd be nice to get a really, really good one that people can kind of point to or whatever. And it seems like the perfect time to do one now when we're having so many battles about teaching civil rights in school and what have you. Let's move on to this other story. It's a little bit unsavory, uncomfortable, but Bryan Fuller, who is the creator of shows like Hannibal and American Gods, he was accused in a lawsuit on Wednesday of sexually harassing a fellow producer on an AMC docuseries about queer horror. Fuller is accused of making constant references to masturbation, engaging in casual bullying, and creating a hostile work environment. Sam Weinman is the gentleman who is accusing Mr. Fuller here. He said that he repeatedly held him from behind to, quote, crack his back, where he would press his penis against Weinman's buttocks. They did work together on Queer for Fear, the history of queer horror. That was their working relationship. He alleges that he was removed from the project, Weinman does, in August of 2021 after 4 weeks after complaining about Fuller's conduct. And there's more stuff that he's accusing him of, but I don't need to go through the sordid details. But does this surprise you, Jeff? This is both men are gay. There's a sexual harassment component to this. We don't really usually hear too many accusations in the LGBTQ community of this level in Hollywood. So what are your thoughts on this when you hear this?
I gotta be honest. I've been thinking about my fucking boss for the last 2 minutes.
Okay. Anything to say about that? What's that?
Next question.
Okay. All right. So you don't want to chime in on this at all. All right. Fair enough.
Pass.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. So we'll see how this plays out. But of course, we've got a number of things going on right now with producers both currently working and not working in Hollywood. A number of accusations that are popping out. So we'll see what happens with that accusation with Bryan Fuller, because that guy clearly has some clout in this town. They are denying. I think he is denying all of his stuff. Fuller's attorney told the outlet that the allegations are fictitious and absolute garbage, and that Wyman was fired for gross incompetence. Called him a pathological liar as well. So we will see what this is all about.
That's the unfortunate thing about being a victim in this country, and I'll be able to talk more about that in a couple of weeks. Okay. I have a trial that is still supposedly on the docket for October 24th.
What? A trial for what?
What happened over the summer.
Oh, right.
Okay. And that I believe is basically wrapped up, but I haven't gotten the official word yet. So as of now, there's still a trial, so I can't say anything.
Okay.
But yes, in general, if you've ever seen an episode of Law and Order,
yeah,
it is disgusting what happens to victims in this country.
Yes.
And you know what? It's partial. It's not partially, but it's like it's been interesting being on the other side. It's been interesting being on the other side and getting a taste of it and seeing that perspective for once.
Maybe changing your perspective on certain things. Maybe down the road, we'll see. All right, let's move on to the other thing. Kevin Costner.
Believe whether they're women or men, right?
What's that?
I think you have to believe people, whether they're women or men.
Of course, 100%.
Yes.
Yes. Of course. Yes. Let's move on to the other.
Huh? Yeah. People are like, is Jeff on trial? Jeff's not on trial. Jeff would have been. Hopefully, it won't have to be, but is prepared to be the plaintiff.
Let's slow it all down. Slow down. Let's slow down. You're going in 4 different directions.
I know.
Let's move on to Costner here. Costner today dropped a nice teaser, 45-second teaser, him and Warner Brothers for his 2-part Western epic Harassing, an American saga. It is coming to theaters already next summer. Chapter 1 will be released on June 28th of 2024, and Chapter 2 will land 3 months later on August 16th or 2 months later, rather, on August 16th, 2024 from Warner Brothers and New Line. So this is a fascinating 45 seconds that I really liked. Jeff, there's only about 20 seconds or 15 seconds of actual footage, but certainly the hype train is building for this. And this is the project that apparently got him in trouble here with Taylor Sheridan and the Yellowstone situation. So what are your thoughts when you see these 45 seconds, and what do you feel about this whole thing being announced so soon?
I saw those 45 seconds and I was like, what is new about this? Like, I've seen this a million times. Like, this is how they're trying to sell this movie. It looked very it did seem too early.
Okay.
Why are you promoting this now? Like, it's just leave this for the Super Bowl. Buy a Super Bowl spot if you really believe in it. It felt way too early to start promoting movies for next summer already, particularly that one. It's not like it's like a big IP blockbuster thing. Maybe because it's an original, you have to get out in front like Oppenheimer kind of did.
Maybe, yeah.
But yeah, a 2-part Western event. Good luck. That's how I think of it.
Well, it's originally set to be 4 different movies that were supposed to be released every 3 months, which I don't understand the logic of that, but that's
an announcement. Okay, that was never going to happen.
Do you think it was okay? That was just to get people excited about it.
As someone who's built a career off these fucking announcements, that's what 80% of them are. Is just like to announce something and then say we're developing something. yeah, I don't think that there were ever going to be 4. And if there are going to be 4, then obviously you make the first 2 and see how they do. And then, the huge hits. All right, let's make 3 and 4 back to back. You don't make 4 movies back to back, particularly a Western starring Kevin Costner. It's not like this is like an Avengers, like, trilogy plus 1, a quadrilogy.
Right. Sienna Miller, Sam Worthington, and Luke Wilson are going to be part of this. And it's apparently the story spans 15 years in the settlement of America's Western frontier and focuses on settlers and indigenous groups that first occupied the land. And apparently it's going to focus on women. Costner said that, it's going to be focusing on the women and what they had to deal with here in the West. So
thank God that Kevin Costner, right, is standing up for the women, right, of the Wild West. This guy is like being sued to kingdom come by his ex-wife.
Yeah.
Right. Who he wants to give like $100,000 to or something. It's like, the hypocrisy that comes out of Hollywood every day. It's astounding.
It really is astounding for sure. But we'll see. We'll see what this happens. And I imagine they took advantage right now, Jeff, of how Yellowstone is back in the kind of pop culture zeitgeist conversation as it's being shown on CBS. Apparently the numbers for these are astronomical. So people are catching up who maybe don't pay for streaming services on Yellowstone for the first time. So you see the reaction here. Maybe they wanted to take advantage of the hoopla that's going on right now and announce this thing and what have you. So we shall see. All right. Well, let's get into the big conversation. We got 500 of you joining us right now. Please remember to hit a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. It's really a big deal. And keep sending in your Streamlabs Superchats. We will absolutely get to those in a little bit here on the show. But the big conversation we're going to have today is about Julia Ormond. This is a famous English actress here who was best known for her roles in the 90s with Legends of the Fall, with First Night, and with Smilla's Sense of Snow as well. But she is suing Harvey Weinstein, CAA, the Disney company, and Miramax for sexual assault. She claims that Weinstein sexually assaulted her in 1995 after a business dinner when he lured her into giving a massage, climbed on top of her, masturbated, and forced her to give him oral sex. After the alleged assault, she told her agents, Bryan, Lord, and Kevin Huvane, who are currently co-chairman of CAA today, although they're not named as defendants, CAA is, she accuses them of telling her that to hide it away, to not tell anybody because of repercussions. And then they even insinuated, when she finally revealed what happened, that did you lead him on? Did you give him any cues that you might be interested in him? And so she's accusing Weinstein, obviously, of rape, but then everyone else here, CAA, Weinstein, CAA, Miramax, and Disney, of enabling Weinstein to do these kinds of things, and that they all knew he did this, and she was not warned about it. And she also claims that this is what ended up killing her career, because Weinstein and others talked about how difficult she was because she rejected Weinstein and confronted him on the set of Smell a Sense of Snow. So, Jeff, this is a pretty tough article to read. Horrible to hear and read some of the things that she went through and endured. What are your thoughts when you hear this? What's your reaction?
Not the day for the Sneider. Well, which topic is this?
Julia Ormond. What the hell? What is going on?
These wind-ups. Julia Ormond, terrible what happened to her.
Yeah.
And it's pretty clear. It's very much like the Annabelle Shior of it all, right? Mm-hmm. Now, I don't think, just because you're an actress who gets older and whose career maybe stalls out, you can't just blame that on, the things that a lot of women in this industry suffer. But I do believe Julia Ormond when she says that Weinstein really, that there were consequences for her for coming forward. And, when she names the agencies and the cover-up, I mean, sounds right to me. I mean, CAA has already apologized and taken accountability for this. So I don't really understand when someone comes forward and says, hey, this happened to me too, that they're like, no, it didn't, because there's a financial liability, right? Mm-hmm. When they've already sort of issued a blanket sort of, this kind of stuff did happen on our watch.
Yeah. Well, a spokesman for CAA pushed back on Ormond's claims, calling them baseless and stating that the agency will vigorously refute them. They're defending it by saying that they hired a lawyer, this woman named Lynch, who investigated Ormond's claims and found that there was no base for them. But her lawyer is refuting this by saying that Lynch has been hired by a number of companies, and her goal seems to be to defend the companies against these accusers. And so they want to undercut her credibility as a researcher or investigator. And apparently they say they've got evidence, and they've got maybe text messages, maybe there's emails, maybe there's recorded conversations. I don't know. But either way, I think it's great what she's doing. I'm a big fan of, if you saw this shit happening and you did nothing, fuck you. Like, I got no problem with your ass being taken into the flames and set on fire.
Because they've taken Harvey off the board, right? He's in prison, but there's still this whole old boys network and all of his lieutenants and people who knew what was going on.
Right.
How could, I mean, when people say, how could they not have? I mean, it's very hard for me to believe that these women just didn't tell anybody.
Yeah, and that's the frustrating part of this all, because I think this is where this needs to go. The Adult Survivors Act is what she's using, which was created after Me Too, and I don't think there's a statute of limitations on those accusations. And so I think it's great that she's going to be able to pursue this and maybe expose more of this stuff, because we do need to weed out these people. And don't fool yourself that this is not still happening in Hollywood. Just because they all stand up there and accept their awards and say their pretty statements and write out their statements to put on their websites like CAA did and others, it doesn't mean there isn't still abuse going on to actresses, to female employees by men in power, and vice versa. I'm sure I've created space for that as well. People in power using their power to intimidate subordinates sexually. She was under contract for a 2-year production situation with Weinstein. She was a very outspoken feminist actress. And so Weinstein, I think, and this is what's really sick when you look at what Weinstein did, he was essentially picking the women that he wanted to sexually assault. And the stronger the woman was, the more he wanted to dominate her and do horrible things to her sexually to kind of break her down. And it is terrible to see this and read about this kind of stuff. And I do think the enablers need to be called out. I do think they need to be said by name and sued and have to pay for all of this stuff, just to make sure that these guidelines stay true, that the new stuff that's going on stays true, and they make it correct and help people who are making these accusations. So it's just a shame on all levels, because she was an up and coming actress. She was certainly someone who was very outspoken and was being promoted very strongly in the 90s. And like Ashley Judd has said, like Gretchen Mol, like some other of these younger actresses have said, Harvey kind of ruined their career and stomped on them because they wouldn't have sex with him. So it's horrible, or were assaulted and made accusations at him. So, all right. Anything more to say on this one, man? Anything more to kind of explore here?
Yeah, I think that, as with anything, it's just important to let the legal process play out.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, let's, what are we at right now? 23 minutes. Let's hit some of these Streamlabs and Super Chats, Jeff. We got a big one from Owen Lanning, who says, Jeff, there isn't a reporter I respect more than you. Not only do you have amazing taste, but you stand in your morals and your word. Glad you quit putting up with bullshit. Life is too short. There you go, Jeff. What's going on? What's going on over there? Are we getting emotional? What's going on over there?
Thank you.
Look at those tears. I love it. He's a human being, ladies and gentlemen. For God's sakes, he's a human being. I respect and admire my man. People ask me all the time, when we were starting the show, why Sneider's a live wire. And I always tell him, man, he's a good guy. He's a good guy at heart. He's a good guy at heart, man. So thank you, Owen, for the very kind words that you sent there for Jeff. Jeff, anything you want to say besides the thank you?
DM me.
There you go. Jay Bling says, from one Jeff to another, I once told off a boss and it felt so gratifying.
I'm trying to think if I've quit before. I quit the rap, but it was, more under like listen, Variety came calling and is going to offer me more money. Like,
right.
I think any business owner has to, respect that. And obviously, I don't think Sharon was happy that day, but, that's just business. And we, obviously I went back there after that. So we were able to bury the hatchet.
Right.
Have I quit anywhere else? Shit. I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe. It's all such a blur. There's just so many jobs.
Fair enough. Joel Davis says, will Ahsoka get a season 2 and any update for the Rey film sources or Taika Star Wars film sources? Jeff, any update on there?
No, I meant to check in before the show. So let me just look real quick right now. But okay. I meant to check in before the show with them, but obviously things got a little crazy. No updates since the strike ended about Star Wars or anything. Okay. And I think it's going to be a little while. I think that the priority is just of all these corporations is to first get the projects that were paused back up and running again, right? And then we'll worry about what's next.
Fair enough. Let's see. Mike McKenna.
Like schedules are all over the place now, right?
Yeah.
It's like I was so surprised. Jamie and I were both surprised. And hopefully there will be a column soon. Or maybe I won't be able to access the site. Who knows? Anyways, there probably won't be because I quit. I have no idea how it would go up. There's nobody else ready for the site. So, anyways, Jamie wrote a great column about David Corns. Wow. And how, we were very surprised to learn that they'd only shot a week of Twisters, according to
before the strike. Okay,
right. And so it's like when the strike lifts, does David Cornsweet go back to Twisters, or is it time to dive into fucking Superman right away?
Right.
We have no idea. I don't know how big his role in Twisters is. Maybe he's there for a few days. He's just one of this huge ensemble, or maybe he's the third lead. I don't know.
Yeah, good question. Let's see here. Mike McKenzie says, what's up, you turkeys? Happy Canadian Thanksgiving from the Great White North. I'm thankful for all the great work all you guys do all the time. What is your favorite Canadian film or director? Peace. Oh, man. Good question. Best Canadian film. You got one that comes to mind here, Jeff?
Oh, God.
I mean, there's Eastern Promises.
Here, right. I mean, the easy ones are Cronenberg and Adam McGoyan.
Yeah, Sweet Hereafter.
Here's what I'll say.
Okay.
My favorite Canadian filmmakers are the guys who brought you This Is the End, among other movies, and that is Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg.
Okay. All right. I would have to say Cronenberg because of The Fly. I just love The Fly so much that it's such a good film. But I would say Eastern Promises is up there in the conversation. I'm not a history of violence guy, but Eastern Promises to me, that's a fucking great movie. So that's what I would throw up.
People are saying Denis in the chat, and obviously that's
Denis Villeneuve. All right, fair. Sure. Absolutely. That's one of the greatest filmmakers currently working today. Jeff put a shout out for Goon. I'm sure Jeff loved Goon. I'm sure he's a big fan of the Sean William Scott hockey movie there for sure. Thank you, bud. Appreciate it, Mike. And JC says, rewatching Entourage. Why? JC, why are you rewatching Entourage? And wondering if you see it returning in this climate. From their podcast.
Yeah, dude. Entourage is what we need right now to just.
You're so insane. What? And let me finish this. Entourage is super. Do you see it returning in this climate? From their podcast, the guys seem down. It could be fun to watch them navigate current Hollywood. Jeff, did Ari Gold inspire your no bullshit attitude at all?
I think that Entourage should be an anthology series.
Explain.
Anthology, The Next Generation. Okay. And it's basically Mr. Beast.
Ooh, the YouTube people.
Exactly, and his entourage and the people that you see in those videos. I'm so curious. Okay, there's Mr. Beast, but then he's got some ugly kid next to him. Sorry, and it's how did this ugly kid get to be in all Mr. Beast videos? Why? Maybe he's Mr. Beast's best friend, or I don't know. Maybe it just makes Mr. Beast look better. Either way, a show about that crew and a guy like Mr. Beast who can just move through the world where everybody knows him.
Yeah,
on a scale that's way even bigger than a movie star these days.
Yeah, Entourage, but with YouTubers. Yeah,
there's no fucking Brad Pitt patch on the New Orleans Pelicans. Did you see this?
Yes. But look, I think that's a great idea. If you're going to bring back Entourage, bring it back like that. That's a good thing to explore because that's new and edgy. Just like going behind the scenes in Hollywood was new and edgy back then for Entourage. But I do think Entourage is, for me, not my jam. It is. I loved it when I watched it, but when that movie came out, we had moved on as a society, and that movie felt very misogynistic. It felt stupid. Adrian Grenier was never a good actor. So the belief that he would actually be leading franchise films just stretched the bounds of credibility on so many levels. And at the end, it just felt like it worn out its welcome. You know what would be fun to see is from the female point of view. Give me an Entourage, no holds barred, no fucking stroking hands and being politically correct. Give me the Hollywood female version of Entourage. I want to see that. Give me the R-rated version of Hollywood, because a lot of women who are breaking through, there are women who are like, oh yes, we're going to say all the things, do all the right things, blah, blah, blah. But it's a ruthless business. And there are a lot of women who can like trying to get in, what that could expose, what you could explore. That's a new angle you could take with 4 really funny, good actresses and see what they could create in that whole thing. So I think that could be an interesting approach. But I like the YouTube approach if you're going to go with the 4 guys again, because I think that's a really smart situation.
It doesn't necessarily even have to be 4 guys. Like, why can't, Mr. Beast have like a sister?
Yeah, sure. Fine. Yeah. No problem with that.
Like, she like manages his career or whatever.
Yep.
And she's like, this is so weird. Like my baby brother is, like Mr. Beast. Like,
TikTok. You could go through TikTok as well. Quite a people, because we just saw what's her name? Quinta Brunson, right? She came out of doing those small films on YouTube, and then they gave her a sitcom. So what would that be like? Those kind of real world things. What would that actually be like? And have conversations behind the scenes for some stories and anecdotes that you can use in the show. So I'd be down with that. All right, let's take a quick break, Jeff, and we'll jump into some more stuff here when we come back right after this. All right, Jeff, we got another piece of news that kind of dropped that was related to something we discussed earlier. Drew Barrymore has lost her top 3 writers who were on strike here and was the source of the reason Drew Barrymore had not restarted her show, and then eventually was the source of some of the anger and the frustration here when she spoke about restarting her show. Chelsea White, Christina Conan, and Liz Coe have all declined to return to the show here. The production is now interviewing new writers and will be in compliance with the guild. She announced that she was coming back on October 16th, which is the 11 days from now, and they're still hunting for writers. So you tell me about this, because one of the writers came out and was interviewed by Daily Beast and spoke very affectionately about Drew, but also very strongly about Drew's decision to try to bring back her show. And now all 3 of them are not coming back. And so what's your thoughts on this, Jeff? Are you surprised by this? And what do you think it signifies?
I want to take these ladies to lunch next week.
Okay.
If you know any of these 3 WGA writers, I guess they're based in New York, though, probably.
They are.
Right?
Yeah, you have to fly in, I guess.
Well, these are the only 3 people with a fucking backbone and any fucking integrity, right?
I agree.
We should be having lunch together.
Yeah.
Because, like, good for them. Drew Barrymore's like, and again, I respected Drew Barrymore's decision. She had mouths to feed on that show. I'm not walking that back.
Right.
But at the same time, from their perspective, it's like, okay, if you think you can do this show without us, good luck.
Knock yourself out.
Exactly. Right. And you know what? These 3 ladies are going to get swamped with offers.
Probably.
I wouldn't worry about like not working if I was them.
Yeah.
Writers are gonna hire other writers.
Yeah.
I'm a fucking writer, by the way, if anybody is wondering. But I think it was a noble stance that they took, and the Drew Barrymore show will be worse for it.
Yeah, so many people are all about criticizing, but then not following it up with action. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to criticize, but then I'll go back to work for that person, right? And so I like that you saw these 3 women make a stance, make it clear they weren't coming back. And yeah, like you said to Drew, go ahead, good luck, create what you're going to create. Maybe they'll go on and do something else. Because if certainly they could resuscitate Drew Barrymore's career, and I don't care what anybody says, she wasn't getting people into theaters anymore. They essentially gave her a second career as a host by helping her with all the stuff that they were doing. And yes, Drew's personality, Drew's natural instincts as a performer, those are all there. But you need writers who understand how to present these things to get you over. So if I'm a host or starting out as a host, or if I'm a production company and I've got someone I'm looking at and having conversations with to be a host, a former actress or a current performer, whatever, I'm looking at these ladies going, hey, can you come here and work your magic with this host, and maybe we can make some money here in the daytime and put you up against Drew Barrymore's show. That could be really interesting as well down the road. But I agree with you, Jeff. They're not going to suffer for offers, these ladies.
Yeah,
for sure. So shout out to them. And man, who knew that Drew Barrymore was going to be the villain of this whole strike? That's kind of
he's not the villain of the strike. The AMPTP is the villain of.
Well, fair point, but
they're the
making
ones
that
who
decision,
made the whole town wait 5 months to do something that took 5 days.
That's fair. That's fair. That's fair. I'm just saying some of her actions, I would say, weren't the best actions overall. And speaking of strikes, let's do some updates here, Jeff. What's your sense here? SAG AFTRA and the AMPTP, after a couple of days of negotiations, issued a joint statement saying that they met for a full day bargaining session and have concluded. Negotiations will continue on Friday, October 6th, that's tomorrow, with the parties working internally over the weekend and resuming Monday, October 9th. The last time we saw both sides of a strike negotiating for a few days, we got the end of the writer's strike. So do you sense that we are coming to the end of the SAG AFTRA strike, considering they're going to negotiate tomorrow into the weekend and resume fully on Monday? What are your thoughts on this?
If it doesn't happen by tomorrow, I think it's definitely going to happen by next week. I think, yeah. I think that just everybody's sick and tired of this shit and they want to get back to work. And obviously, the studios have been taking it seriously. I told you it would be like 2 or 3 weeks after the WGA strike.
Yeah. They let the WGA have a week to bask in the glow of ending the strike and whatever. So now it's SAG AFTRA's turn. And you might be right. Maybe they do solve it tomorrow. Then the weekend is the lawyers looking over everything, and then they make an announcement on Monday that it's over. We can all just go back to work once and for all, and all the strikes are settled from here. But positive signs for sure for this situation. Let's move on to Roy Wood Jr., Jeff. Roy Wood Jr. Has quit The Daily Show after 8 years of being on the show, and because he sensed that he was not going to be the front runner for the main hosting job. It seemed like it was going to Hasan Minhaj. Then that whole controversy exploded that he was borrowing anecdotes or stories from other people to use in his act to depict the racism that he supposedly experienced. And he's a comedian. It's everybody's right to tell stories or fake stories or whatever. But he says, I can't come up with a plan B, Roy Wood Jr. says, while still working with a plan A. The job of correspondent, it's not really one where you can juggle multiple things. And I think 8 years is a good run. He thanked Paramount. He thanked Comedy Central for giving him the runway to produce 3 one-hour stand-up specials, letting him host 2 award-winning podcasts, and letting him write a film and shoot his own comedy pilot and much, much more. And he said, we'll be finding other ways to collaborate with them down the road. So, he just hosted the White House Correspondents' Dinner here recently. So this is a name that is building more and more. People are loving him on social media. I see people quoting him or clipping out stuff that he's done on TikTok, on Twitter, and what have you, on Instagram. So what are your thoughts on this? Do you think that he realized, hey, I'm not going to be the star here, so I'm taking off. I've hit that wall where I can't, if I'm not the star, I don't think I want to be just a correspondent. What are your thoughts?
I mean, what a day to discuss this, like that's a man who knows his worth.
Yes, 100%.
Right? Yeah. If you're Roy Wood Jr. and you've been there for years as a correspondent and you want to host the show, right? And they're looking for someone of color to do it, and they go after Hasan Minhaj. Okay, you take your shot. You want Hasan Minhaj, I get it, but something just blows up Hasan Minhaj's his chances.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
You keep looking when I'm still right here in front of you, motherfucker.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Good for him. Good for him in fucking walking.
Yeah.
What is wrong with these fucking companies and these bosses? Like that's why you do a job to try to move into the main seat and all that stuff. And he's earned the right. He's earned the shot.
Well, yeah, I just don't think they saw Roy Wood as the guy. Like the fact that they were looking towards Hasan Minhaj, who was a bit younger, still up and coming. And I think they felt maybe this was more of the standard kind of Jimmy Fallon type guy. You know what I'm saying? He's like a safe choice. Roy might get them in trouble because Roy's got that kind of who I can't remember the comic who gets in trouble all the time for speaking his truth there. But like he's got that ability to maybe get himself in trouble. And I think they felt they want someone like a Hasan Minhaj. And I know Chelsea Handler is campaigning. I think that'd be the wrong choice. But I wouldn't mind a young female comic coming in there. That could be interesting.
Listen, here's the question, though. Are we watching for the host?
What's that? Say again.
you watching the host or
Yes.
are we watching the show?
I'm watching for the host and the show when I watch.
I'm just like, and I wonder what that, like, do people have such a tie to, the Daily Show, like they maybe do for the Tonight Show? Where it's like they're gonna watch it because it's part of their routine by now, and they like the brand of humor that the show brings, regardless of who's hosting. Or is it like, no, if I like the show, if I like the host, I'll watch it. If I don't like the host, I'm not gonna watch it.
Well, I think it is that with the Daily Show because Jon Stewart made it that. Jon Stewart's really the one who put that on the map as a host of the show, right? And I think obviously when Trevor Noah came in, who by the way came in at the same time as Roy Wood Jr., Trevor Noah came in and he was getting a lot of shit for the first couple of years that he was host of the show because he wasn't Jon Stewart. And so this was a big deal for people who were regular watchers of the show that the host, they weren't enjoying the host at the same levels that they were enjoying the previous host. So it wasn't until I think the election cycle came around that he really found his footing and he took off from there. And so I think the host is massively important for the Daily Show because the correspondents are great, but you've got to have a really strong, funny host who's also interacting with the audience in between the breaks, which we've seen with Trevor Noah there, putting those up on YouTube. You've got to have the right host.
That show specifically is about having like a point of view.
Yes, right? Absolutely.
But like, smoke. I just lost the fucking analogy. Okay. Smokey Vandross was saying.
Smokey Vandross? Yeah, I like it. Yeah. Yes.
I know. I'm like quoting him like he's like a buddy of mine. My buddy Smokey Vandross said. What's the difference? And it's like Saturday Night Live. Like I watch Saturday Night Live, and whoever hosts. Yeah. Right. There's some people are like, oh, Saturday Night Live, I'm not watching unless I like who the host is. If I don't like who the host is, I'm not watching the show. So I think there is a difference. I just watch for the show.
Yeah.
Because I like what it offers.
Yeah.
Regardless of who's offering it.
Yeah, so we'll see where Roy Wood ends up, but he's a very funny guy. I'm sure he's not going to lack for attention or for offers either as a comedian going around here freelance. And so I'm sure he'll land someone. Somebody mentioned the Late Late Show with Roy Wood Jr. That could be interesting. I think that could be a great spot. If James Corden can survive all those years hosting that show. Craig Ferguson, I miss him like crazy. He was a great host. Roy Wood Jr. kind of fits the irreverent, slightly dangerous kind of host that you could have at a later time slot that you could have fun with, So I like the idea of him possibly taking over the Late Late Show and it's a national kind of job, so that could work out for him as well. So we'll see what happens with that. Let's see here. Oh, yeah. And speaking of SNL, as you just mentioned here, brother, they announced they're coming back with SNL and Pete Davidson will be the host. Don't you have to wait like 5 years after you left the show to host the show? It seems weird to bring back the guy who just left like 2 years ago.
You have to wait 5 years, but there is a loophole in that little handbook there where if you sleep with a number of A-list actresses or, whatever it is, they just let you do it, apparently. Yeah. Jesus. I mean, Pete Davidson. Didn't we get enough of this guy?
My man's a boatman.
He was supposed to host the show last season, to be fair.
Oh, he was? Okay.
They had to cancel his episode. He was going to promote Bupkis. Now he's promoting Dumb Money. So it does seem fair that they would pick up with him. Mm-hmm. But it's also like, I wonder how many A-list actors they would have gotten to like cross the picket line, right? I mean, I do anticipate the strike being over by the time that show tapes, right? Yeah. On October 14th or whatever it is. But, there's a reason that it's Pete Davidson coming home and then it's Bad Bunny. I mean, it's not like David Harbour or something.
That's true. And a channel name reminding me that Eddie Murphy did host the show while he was still a cast member. But of course, Eddie Murphy is an actual star. LOL. Well, Pete Davidson's a star. He's not Eddie Murphy's star. But Pete Davidson's a star. Don't get it twisted, man. That guy certainly, showing up in possible Oscar fare, which I know Jeff disagrees with, like Dumb Money, and also leading your own comedy with Joe Pesci, by the way, in Bupkis. The guy's got some status here. Don't crap on him. And when Eddie hosted, there were no rules back then in the 1980s. This is a different kind of time now in 2023. So, but yeah, certainly a well-known boatman that gentleman there who's going to be hosting. So, Pete Davidson. So, all right, let's see what else we've got here. 007, Jeff, we had a trailer for 007 Road to a Million with Brian Cox hosting this reality competition. Jeff, this is what every James Bond fan was fucking afraid of when Prime Video bought MGM and bought the James Bond franchise because this trailer was ridiculous. A reality show that you could have constructed in any way at all, and you just slap James Bond on it because it happens to be similar to some of the James Bond stuff. And how many people believe that it's actually Brian Cox who's there deciding who survives and doesn't? So I thought it was stupid. What's your opinion on it?
I did not watch that trailer. The show is not on my radar whatsoever. It's harmless fun. I mean, it's not like this is like Bond canon. It's just some stupid reality show. They slapped the name 007 on. Like, okay, yeah, that was inevitable as part of the whole deal or whatever. Who cares?
That's exactly my point. Why make it? Because who cares?
Well, I mean, because some people are easy marks and they're going to say, oh, 007, is this related to Bond? What is it? And they'll check out an episode or whatever. And, most of them will abandon it after that. I mean, God, the money that is being spent on some of the streaming stuff. But that's probably a low-cost thing because it's reality.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see here. There was another trailer that came out this week starring one of our favorite actors, Jeff. That's Jason Statham. This is David Ayer's The Beekeeper. Now, I see a title like this and immediately I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Then you see the bees in the poster and you're like, oh my God, is he really a fucking beekeeper? And then you find out what this is all about. Much more of espionage, much more of a thriller, some fights here. He's beating up the FBI. So clearly some political points of views being put out on this film. But what did you think of the trailer? What do you think of Jason Statham coming in here with Felicia Rashad and Minnie Driver and Jeremy Irons as the villain? What were your thoughts on this trailer? And David Ayer as the director, who, of course, has been on social media chomping at the bit to have his Ayer cut made and put out there by WB. What are your thoughts?
Dude, it was a great week for trailers. The Beekeeper looked like a lot of fun.
The Beekeeper.
And I looked this up. I was like, fucking raw honey is flammable.
Come on now.
I was like, wow. Amazing. Yes, this looks like a ton of fun. And I love that it's Ayer. I mean, I like Ayer. Suicide Squad was horrendous.
Right.
Whether he refuses to admit that or not, or, whether he wants to blame other people for that, be my guest. I'm not interested in a director's cut. I don't believe anything will be able to save that movie. But I do think in general, David Ayer is very talented. And I like, his Shia LaBeouf movie. I liked End of Watch. I like Fury. I'm looking forward to The Beekeeper for sure.
Yeah, I liked the trailer and I wasn't sure what to expect. And I like David Ayer. You're right. End of Watch, Fury. These are good films. Nothing's going to save his Suicide Squad. If Cara Delevingne is still in the movie, there's nothing you can do. No editing. There's nothing you can do to save that fucking movie. If she's still the main antagonist in the movie doing this nonsense all over the place, forget it. But the other stuff, he's never disappointed me as a director when I've seen his other stuff. So I'm looking forward to see what he's going to do here. And this looks like a shade above the standard Jason Statham vehicle. And I like the idea that it's a woman who took care of him. And it's a real world thing that she was tricked to have her money taken from her by these people who have created really new and technologically intelligent ways to trick older people out of their money. And she kills herself. And so he wants to take revenge on the people who did this to her. I mean, that scene of him wrapping that fire hose around the dude and setting him off the bridge with the truck, I was like, okay, this is my kind of movie. Let's have some fun. So, yeah, I'm down to see this one. David Ayer understands revenge in such a great way for sure. We had another director come in with an action film, Jeff, that shocked. I saw you tweet about it. Shocked me too. Silent Night, starring one of Jeff's favorite actors, Joel Kinnaman here. Directed by John Woo. What did you think of this trailer?
Looked amazing, dude. I've spoken to people who have seen it and they say it's pretty good.
Really? Oh, that's great. Yeah.
It looks.
Our friend Scott Mance was quoted in the trailer for guys.
I know Scotty Mance on John Woo. I'm jealous. The action looks really cool. I like the cinematography. Joel. That image of Joel screaming in front of the mirror with his vocal cords cut or whatever. Yeah. I think it's going to be badass.
Yeah, and it's just like No One Will Save You. There's apparently only one line of dialogue, or it's a dialogue-free movie because he gets his tongue cut out in the opening of the film. So there is no dialogue here. And it feels like Peppermint. Remember that Jennifer Garner movie where I think her daughter or husband are killed by these gang people and she goes and exacts revenge. This looks like one of those old school John Woo films where a man is caught between two warring factions and he is going to take them out on a one-way mission and he trains to be able to do it. So again, a great revenge film. Revenge films, when they're done well, are chef's kiss, man.
Did you see Sympathy for the Devil?
Yes.
Did you
Yes.
like that?
I like that one. I like Sisu too. Have you seen Sisu? That was fucking good too.
But Sympathy, being a Joel Kinnaman movie, obviously.
Yeah.
The other trailers this week, Thanksgiving.
I did not see that one. Which one's that one?
The Eli Roth's horror movie. That looks like a blast. Absolutely. Like, great to see him back in slasher territory or horror territory.
Yeah, stay there. Stay there, please. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Crazy that movie's going to be out before Borderlands.
Bro, the planet's going to end before Borderlands comes out. What are you fucking talking about?
And speaking of that, did you see the trailer for Leave the World Behind?
Which one was that one?
Julia Roberts, Mahershala Ali one?
Oh, yes. I did see that one. That was good.
Yeah, I thought that looked really good, and I've heard that's good too. I don't know if it's an awards movie, but I've heard it's good.
I was going to do a reaction to that one, but I didn't think people would be clamoring to see a reaction to that trailer, but I watched the trailer. I really enjoyed the trailer. I was down with that one. So, and it's nice to see Julia play some harder edges lately. I like that she's expanding as an actress into these kind of harder, grittier, scarier type things. And so I like that it's a nice challenge for her because she seems to be rising to it. So
I mean, that movie is based on a huge book that I'm I think I'm like still 25 pages into it. It's been on my nightstand for like a year practically. I swear I'm going to finish it, and maybe I will now that I'm unemployed. Maybe I'll actually read it. But it's supposed to be like this great book, right? And then Denzel was going to play Mahershala's role. Like, Denzel doesn't attach to a lot of stuff. I know he's out of this one,
right.
But I don't know if that had more to do with scheduling and Equalizer 3 or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
But the fact that he was attracted at all speaks kind of volumes.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of Mahershala Ali, we had a report this week from World of Real that apparently there is another rewrite on the table here for Blade. Remember, back in April, it was True Detective's creator / writer Nick Pizzolatto who was tapped to pen the latest round of rewrites. And it was the fourth writer to officially take on Blade after Stacey Osei Kuffour, Michael Starbury, and Bo DeMaio took a crack. Well, another rewrite has been called by Marvel boss Kevin Feige. This is according to World of Real. This one is said to be a total revamp of the last draft. But apparently Feige was not too impressed with it. Jan Damage was hired, of course, to replace Bassem Tariq to direct this thing. Mia Goth has been added. I know it's one of your favorite actresses, Jeff. So if this is true, an entire revamp, does this speak volumes about how unconfident Marvel is currently with anything that they're creating and putting out? Are they overthinking this situation? Because we're on a fifth rewrite if this is true, Jeff. Is this film ever coming out?
I mean, this is the only mistake made here is that they announced it before it's ready, right?
Right. Yes.
I think it's encouraging that they're actually taking the time to get the script right.
Yeah.
You don't want to rush something into production that is not good and won't lead to a sequel.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, and I don't know what kind of plans they have for Blade in the larger MCU.
Right.
But I'd rather see them, keep pushing it and delaying it and trying to get the script to a place where Mahershala Ali signs off on it than, rush something into production for the sake of meeting an arbitrary deadline.
Yeah. We're going to see, man, because there's a lot of unsteadiness right now around Marvel. So maybe Feige is let's take another look at this thing and see what we're going to do. Maybe Mahershala Ali's like, you got to make some changes here if you want to be a part of it. And also, pushing it farther and farther out, you've got to adjust what's going to be in the film canon-wise to fit in the overall universe. As you just said earlier, Jeff, it's got to fit in the MCU universe. What are you showing? What are you not showing? Are you going to make it a standalone or are you going to make it interconnected? Because that's certainly some of the criticism some of these recent Marvel movies have gotten is there's too much focus on making sure you stay with the continuity of the overall universe rather than letting it be a standalone that does connect in some way to the overall universe. So we'll see what the end result of that is going to be. Let's see. Is there anything else I want to talk about? Oh yeah, James Gunn came out and said that Peacemaker Season 2 is now going to address DCU continuity after having said that Creature Commandos was going to be the first thing in the DCU continuity. Are we back to confusing responses, Jeff, or what is this all about?
I don't know. I don't care. James Gunn has already gotten me to not care about the DCU before it's even launched. Good luck.
Good job. Good job there, James. One last thing before we go to a break here. Only Murders in the Building wrapped up this week, season 3. Great finale. The show was a bit uneven this season, but it was a good finale. They got renewed for season 4. Rumors about it maybe being in LA. What are your thoughts? Did you see the show?
No, I stopped watching after season 1. I watched like the first couple episodes of season 2, and I was like, this just does not have the same oomph to me.
Gotcha.
I think that they could probably stand to mix it up, and yeah, if a season out west, extends things for them, by all means, have at it. If it means more local production, sure, but I don't need to watch that show.
Yeah.
I actually unsubscribed from Hulu this week.
Oh,
strong first time in years I haven't had Hulu.
I haven't had Max for a month, and it's really frustrating me a little bit. But you got.
What do you want to watch on Max right now? I mean, that's like the one place that literally like has nothing new except for like reality shows and documentaries.
Yeah, well, I like the sports docs, man. They do really great sports documentaries. Although I'm about to watch the David Beckham one.
Not to pay for sports documentaries. I mean, like, where are these shows?
Yeah, I know. You're right. It's reality and it's sports docs. That's pretty much. And if you like TCM, great Turner Classic Movies, all that kind of stuff's on there as well. But you can watch that stuff on the app. You can do a nice deep dive onto YouTube and find full-on HD versions of older movies that you can watch on YouTube as well. So, for sure.
Why, it's like, I understand that January is like a big launching pad for television shows, right? We now have 2 shows, True Detective and Masters of the Air, Apple's $300 million show, which, finally got dated for January or whatever.
Right.
Like, they're coming in January. Don't people want to watch this shit, like, when they're with their, I mean, I guess True Detective is more of a weekly thing, but like Masters of the Air, why is that not like out over the holidays? Like, isn't that the kind of show people want to watch with their families? You can watch that show with dad and grandpa, like I don't get it.
Yeah. It's a good point. Let's see. Let's take a quick break, Jeff, and we'll answer some Streamlabs and Super Chats on the other side of this, and then hit some reviews or review reactions to Exorcist Believer and Loki season 2 right after this. I feel like I'm going 100 miles an hour trying to catch up with everything, but I hope you guys are enjoying the show and you're getting the information you need from what we're doing here. There's a number of these that I've got to hit for Jeff and a number of Streamlabs as well. All right. Levi says, anything Star Wars related? Have you heard back from your contact there, Jeff? Anything? Okay. All right. Fair enough.
Well, thank you.
Mr. Penguin says, how true are the Nolan James Bond reports? We talked about it last week. And who do you guys think would play Nolan's James Bond?
I mean, it certainly seems like Aaron Taylor Johnson has the inside track on that role, particularly if it is Nolan. I mean, the two of them work together on Tenet.
Yes.
But I don't think that he's a lock like people necessarily think that he is. And I don't think that Nolan will work out. I mean, we covered this last week. Not that you have to watch every episode to understand what's going on this show.
We'd like you to, but yes.
Not serialized. So yeah, I'm happy to answer it again. Like, yeah, I personally don't think that this is going to work out, even though to me, the timing is kind of perfect.
Fair enough. Just a quick thing. We got 600 of you watching right now. Thank you so much for joining us on this Thursday afternoon into the early evening. Please make sure you hit a like on this video and subscribe to the channel. And if you're watching later, leave a comment as well about what we're talking about. Wiley OFC says, do you ever think we'll get a Beatles biopic? I would say yes, but it's not easy to do. And they usually don't succeed, although they're good at certain levels, but not big one that you can point to. There's no Malcolm X Beatles biopic. You know what I'm saying? But there are good, like Two of Us is a really good TV movie with Jared Harris and Aidan Quinn. There is a Nowhere Boy with Aaron Taylor Johnson. That was a good one for the young John Lennon. Do you think we'll ever get one, especially on the heels of Peter Jackson's 9-hour documentary on Get Back that happened on Apple TV Plus?
I do think that there will be a Beatles biopic. Unfortunately, I think it'll probably come after everyone is gone.
Yeah.
I think that's like you can't do it over like Sir Paul's objections or something like that.
Right.
So I do think that you kind of have to wait. Unless these guys want to see something about themselves in their lifetimes, I mean, Paul McCartney is still like out and about. Like, it's not like this dude's like an old man or anything.
Him and Ringo's still touring, for God's sake.
Dude, these fucking guys, like, they still got it. So it wouldn't shock me though if in like the next 5 years something like that was announced.
Yeah, I'd be down with it. Peter says, Killers of the Flower Moon IMAX screenings near me are already sold out. This trend has been so cool to see. Also, Jeff, this is for your legal fund. There you go, Jeff. Yeah, a New York Film Festival screened Maestro. I think they screened Killers of the Flower Moon. A lot of positive responses, Jeff.
I don't think they screened Killers, but
okay. But I saw Maestro.
So yeah, Maestro got great reviews. Like, I really am surprised given, what I had said on this podcast about it, where, I'd heard that, Netflix wasn't super confident or whatever. Right. Some people have even said they think it has the stuff to win.
Ooh.
I'd be surprised by that because I don't, it's just hard for me to see a Leonard Bernstein biopic, no matter how well made or acted it is, like having the juice story-wise to win that award. But it's not all about awards either, necessarily. If a great movie is a great movie, and I have heard very good things about Maestro. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, fair enough. I want to say one thing real quick on the Nolan Bond rumors. I was doing a deep dive into Cillian Murphy this week, just kind of motivated by Oppenheimer, whatever, and watching the respect and care for Cillian Murphy that Christopher Nolan has. He's kind of become a dark horse in my mind as a possibility for James Bond. I mean, he wanted him. He screen tested him for Bruce Wayne, didn't end up giving him the role. But certainly what he did with Oppenheimer was incredible. So I wonder if there's a possibility that he's an interesting choice for James Bond. Not overtly the most big masculine guy, but maybe a little more of a wiry dude, a little more of an underdog. Could be an interesting angle to take. So I just want that on the record in case it ever does happen. That I kind of threw it out there as a possibility.
I like it.
Empire Fan 1980 says, hey, part one, hey guys, last week I was talking about Ellen coming out on her show. I don't think it was her show that changed everything. After her show was canceled, everyone was saying no one wants to see a gay lead till a little show called Will and Grace came out. I think Will and Grace walked so others like Modern Family and Glee could run. Jeff, your thoughts on this?
I mean, there's no question that Will and Grace was in and of itself a game changer. I mean, I think Ellen deserves a lot of credit. Right. But Will and Grace had multiple gay characters as well.
Yes. Will and Jack.
Very different kinds of gay characters, right? Mm-hmm. It wasn't just like a stereotype, I think it showed that these people are as three-dimensional as the rest of us, It's like Billy Eichner says at the beginning of Bros. I love that line where, it's just like, we just want, nice gay people being happy. He's like, that's the first mistake you made, is that not all gay people are nice.
Exactly. Yeah.
They're just like everybody else. So, I just liked how, Will and Grace, it was also hilarious.
Yes.
I think you're totally right that it blazed a trail that Modern Family and Glee did end up following.
Yeah, and the other side of the coin, there were dramas like L Word and these other dramas that came out that showed you, the complicated lives of gay people in our country. So I think that those are the 1-2 punch.
I didn't watch a lot of L Word.
Yeah, I'm sure you did.
But I did sit next to Catherine Monig on a plane, and she was a delight.
Okay, good to know. I'm Two Fly Cam also says, to the Harvey Weinstein point, Leslie Headland was his personal assistant, and now she's getting a Star Wars show. These monsters aren't going anywhere, it seems.
I don't think Leslie Headland qualifies for a monster status there.
Yeah, that seems a bit of a stretch.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, calm it down there. I'm Two Fly Cam.
I don't know about that one.
Yeah. Crashing Coyote says, who's ready to meet Tech Knight tonight in Gen V? I think he will be Jeff's new favorite, a effed up billionaire with tech, a.k.a. the Iron Man of the boys. Have you been watching Gen V, Jeff? Is that why they're addressing this to you?
I've watched like 2 episodes.
Are you in?
I mean, No, I wouldn't say I'm in yet.
Okay.
But is Tech Knight the character or?
Yes. Well, that's who the character is going to become. Yes. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I don't.
Yeah, it's a play on Iron Man for sure. So I need to catch up. I haven't watched this. I haven't watched the Roald Dahl, Wes Anderson films either. Those are on Netflix. I got to catch up on that shit.
I haven't watched the main one, which is 39 minutes.
The Cumberbatch one.
Very interesting timing, because do you know what the cutoff is to be considered a feature film by the Academy?
You mean the time? Is it 40 minutes?
Yes, it is. So 39 minutes for Wes's Henry Sugar short. Probably gunning for some sort of Oscar nomination. It's been a while, it seems like. But
yeah. Okay.
I did not care for them.
You didn't like them? Okay.
I watched the other three. I haven't finished the Benedict Cumberbatch one or whatever, the main one. But so the other three, they were all fine. It was like people like, this is such incredible art. It's so amazing, and I'm like, I watched it with my brother and my sister-in-law, and all of us were like, we couldn't wait for these to be over. Halfway through, we're like 7 minutes left.
All right, good to know. I'll check them out. Wiley OFC says, have you guys been watching Wheel of Time? I've been really enjoying it, kind of like when the Harry Potter movies were coming out. Yeah, I just got the screeners for Wheel of Time season 2. I have not seen season 1, so and I like Rosamund Pike. I just haven't been motivated to see these overall. What about you, Jeff? You watch any of these?
No.
Okay, good to know. Sorry, Wiley.
Jeff, you're the guy, Wiley. You're the guy watching Wheel of Time. Congratulations.
Dwight Steven says, for your courage, Jeff. For your courage, Jeff. There you go.
I know people watch.
I am Two Fly Cam says, Jeff, you are the man. Believe and invest in you. You're good at what you do, and you're a tough cookie. Also, Rocha, Dick Butkus died. I know the Bears are probably going to win tonight. Listen, no offense, but that team is so terrible. Nobody dying is going to motivate. Nobody on the Bears fucking knows or respects or has a personal feeling about Dick Butkus. Give me a break. They're all kids in their fucking 20s, man. Give me a break. So I don't think they're necessarily being motivated to win. But I think it's in Washington, so it's even less of a motivation. If it had been in Chicago, then maybe I could give you the 12th man type of situation, but I don't think so. Jeff, your thoughts? Dick Butkus passing away, sadly, at this later age.
Don't make him like Dick Butkus anymore.
Not anymore, bro.
Okay? Yeah. He was a different breed of man. R.I.P. I'm surprised death even took him down today.
I love how you crow about these different breed of men that if they were your dad, they would spank you all the time. What is wrong with you, Jeff?
You got spanked.
You did. Oh, I know you got spanked. Trust me. Game knows game. Trust me. I know you got spanked.
Shit.
Ski free _XC says, Jeff, your boss sounds like a ghoul. Love you, man.
Thank you. That was Matt Smith under an
alien.
Yeah.
NLSFC 96. Jeff, so glad and happy you were able to stand up for yourself. I've always loved your opinions on anything, whether I agree with you or not. Knowing you will succeed in anything you do. It's true, Jeff. You always seem to land on your feet, brother, even when you're in the most desperate time.
That's what you told me. Okay, huh? Listen, I'm like a cockroach in this fucking town. Okay, you know how many times they've tried to kill me? They can't kill me.
True.
But I've gotten so unlucky. I'm like Job. I'm like the fucking Job of reporters. Okay, like literally gets a job at Variety. Immediately, Variety gets a new owner, Jay Penske, the same guy who I've been trying to get his mugshot for months. To no avail, by the way. then go to work for Sharon,
Waxman,
who I have no problem with, really. It was the fact that she turned her newsroom over to Tweedledee and Tweedledum, okay, to Tim and Tom, a couple of morons I would never work with again.
Fair enough.
Like Mashable, getting absolutely swept up in that bullshit. That wasn't my fault whatsoever. Tracking Board went under, not my fault. Had nothing to do with the finances behind that site. Now the finances of this site are fucked. Fucking Collider got new owners. Like literally everywhere I go, they get fucking new owners that just fucking clear house and bring in a bunch of young freelancers, essentially.
Yeah.
It's a pretty crazy fucking career.
You're a cooler for your own career. It's kind of crazy, Jeff. That's for sure. But you keep getting hired though. So clearly people.
No, that's what they warned me. That's what they said at the I learned years ago. Yeah. Talent lands.
Yes.
Okay? Yeah. The cream rises, and I've got it. I mean, and I lack self-esteem in so many other parts of my life.
Yeah.
You know, and people, maybe I overcompensate for it, you know, here, but you know, maybe that's why everybody thinks I'm an arrogant prick or whatever. It's like, I know how to do this fucking job. And it's crazy to me just to see so many other people who are less talented make a living off of it when I know I can do it better.
There you go. Easy, Seinfeld. Easy. Who are these people? Mumra says, any news?
Deal with all these people make money and I can't. But no, seriously, this guy took advantage of me because he knew my reputation.
Yes.
He's like, well, Jeff, you can't get hired anywhere else. So I'll fucking pay you whenever the fuck I want to pay you. If you don't like it, you can quit.
Wow. That's a terrible thing to say to somebody.
Dude, this guy is a fucking piece of shit.
Wow.
No problem saying it 80 times over.
I guess I have to launch my own lawsuit because he owes us money.
He owes a lot of people. You should have a fucking class action suit against this guy. He owes fucking money all over town. He's a dirtbag.
Okay. Let's get a good lawyer. Let's get a good lawyer here. Mumra says, any news on Beverly Hills Cop 4 yet? Jordan Peele as MLK. I don't know if I see that necessarily.
That feels.
But I think Jordan's caught up with producing shit. He's not gonna play MLK.
That feels like a sketch.
He has done the sketch, kind of. Yeah. Beverly Hills Cop 4. Any news, Jeff? Real quick. Anything?
I mean, it's going to come out next year. So, I mean, so next year's 2024. It's the 40-year anniversary, basically, right?
Yeah.
I don't think that it's going to, like, I think that Beverly Hills Cop actually came out in December.
Oh, okay.
You know, so I don't think it's going to be like on time to the anniversary and they're going to hold it till December. This is a spring/summer movie. Yeah. And I think that they could easily do it. I think it would be 30 years after Beverly Hills Cop 3. And that came out in May. So I want to say April or May. That's my prediction. April or May for Beverly Hills.
Fair enough. Black Cinema Critic, what's up, brother? He says, one, outlet it respectfully disagree. Noah wants to see a woke entourage. Oh, god damn. Guys, please. Outlet it respectfully disagree. Noah wants to see a woke entourage perspective. Rocha, just stop. Let the films lie dead. 2, Blade is going through its 3rd rewrite. No, it's going through its 5th rewrite. Or 4th rewrite, right? The project is dead. I don't know if it's dead necessarily, because why would you waste time on a fucking rewrite if the project was dead? But I don't get what you were trying to say in the first one. Something about woke or something, which really, anybody uses woke, it already loses me in conversation. NLSFC96 says, also, you are a voice that is needed for the film world. You speak honestly, Jeff, whether it's popular or not. By the way, would love to see Entourage with the original cast come back with how Hollywood is now. None of them would be working. None of them would be working.
Right, it's also white guys. It would be able to get a job.
What do I want to watch 4 white guys complaining they can't get jobs in Hollywood? Fuck that nonsense.
I mean, imagine how much more interesting it is. Like, you know, if it was like a black guy, like imagine the guy who like got tapped to be fucking Magic Johnson. Right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, he comes out of nowhere. Maybe it's the guy who plays Kareem, who was like a doctor or something somewhere. Yeah. Right. And like all of a sudden you're just thrust into Los Angeles and you're playing like the fucking king of LA practically. Yeah. Right. It's like, imagine what that's like. Yeah. I think that would be so interesting too. And that's what I meant when they said, you know, when I said anthologize it, it could be a different entourage every season.
Yeah, that's for sure. Let's see here. Oh, Harloff watching. Harloff says, give me a Star Wars scoop in Sneider. You got anything? Sorry, Christian. We can't help you do a short on this one.
Sorry. I wish I had more. I mean, shit, it's slow.
It's still ramping up, though. I mean, it's gonna, you know, Jeff will have scoops and stuff to break for sure as we go along. But thanks for watching, Christian. Appreciate the super chat, brother. Empire Fan 1980 says Jay Washington for the host. I'd watch that. Jay Washington hosting the Daily Show. No,
I love Jay Washington for the record.
I love Jay Washington, but Jay Washington would absolutely shoot himself in the foot on that show. Even though I'm a big fan of Jay, who has been blown up on the comedy side of things. If you guys are in LA, he is headlining the Comedy Store again later on this month. So Jay has really been committed to becoming a fantastic stand-up comic and performer, and it's great to see him succeeding on all those levels. So being the host of Daily Show, I think we kind of stopped that for now. So I'd rather he's keep got going. A hot
podcast too.
Yeah, right? the Black Bull. Yeah. Him and Chris. Cody Hunt says Dave Filoni took JJ's idea of a mystery box and built another mystery box on top of it. God help us moving forward. He's talking about Ahsoka, which I know you haven't watched, Jeff. So, yeah, I get people's complaints about it, but it is what it is. Jay Blink says Silent Night just needs doves and face waterfalls. Yeah, we might see doves. Who knows? Jack Frost says, I love you both. Respect your opinions and experience. Thanks for an engaging and informative show. Thank you. And some cash for you both and maybe help Jeff to get a microphone. Cheers. I know. I would love.
Actually, get a professional setup. Now that I have this whole area of my apartment where I don't have a whiteboard, maybe I'll put some sort of setup.
Yeah.
Where I can do a professional podcast.
A desk, a green screen, and a mic, and a good camera. That's all you need, buddy. Come on. Thank you, Jack. Jay Blink says that trampoline moment at Thanksgiving. Ooh, boy. Ooh, boy. I don't know what he's talking about. But yeah.
Listen, the movie looks fun. I've heard it has like a lot of great inventive kills. And then it's like a return to form for Eli Roth.
Right on. Don Ronaldo McWhiskey says, just wanted to send support. Thank you, Don. Fanboy Cantina says, with the Spielberg, Chris Rock, MLK news, what other Jonathan Igue biography would be good for a movie? For example, Ali, Jackie Robinson, Capone, or Lou Gehrig. Well, I mean, we had Ali with Will Smith relatively recently. We had Jackie Robinson with Chadwick Boseman recently. Capone with Tom Hardy. We haven't had Lou Gehrig since Gary Cooper. So, I mean, but I don't know how many people are clamoring to see an old school Yankee. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
what do you think?
Lou Gehrig would be interesting just because of like the disease that's sort of named
yes.
after whatever. Yes. I don't know. Did he suffer from that disease? They just yeah. I mean, I assume so. So maybe it could be about his struggle with that disease and their decision to name it after him and everything. Yeah. But I'm going to give you a little thing, since who knows if these interviews will see the fucking light of day anymore.
Okay.
I did an interview with Brian Helgeland. Who did 42.
Okay.
And I asked him, who's the next person of color, athlete of color, who you think deserves a big biopic, because we've had Michael Jordan and all that stuff. And he gave a great answer. You're gonna like it.
Okay.
Roberto Clemente.
Yes, 100%. Tragic death, an incredible ball player, and a phenomenal humanitarian who gave back to his people and to his country at every opportunity that he could, and was beloved by the Major League Baseball fans. And his death was felt by so many. And you can read anybody's remembrances of him, and it's just incredible. So I'd love it. Let's do a Roberto Clemente biography. Let's go. Josh Mabry says, just popping in to show love and support to Jeff during this crazy time. Where you go, we go. We ride with the Snide.
Thank you, Josh. I appreciate that.
Don't get him crying again. I just got.
I don't know if I'll get another opportunity from an outlet, especially after my bridge burning outburst today. But I could, I may have to start my own thing. And that's fucking terrifying because I have no head for business. But if I have to do it and my back's against the wall and I have no other choice, then I will, because I can't go another day working for someone who doesn't value my work or appreciate how hard, when I wake up in the morning, I think of his site and ways to make him money. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Start thinking of yourself, man. I should have started my site. I'd handed it over to you. Let's see. Let's hit some of these Streamlabs that have come through. Nancy Mallory says the Silent Night trailer looks exciting, and I'm glad that John Woo is making a comeback. Do you have a favorite John Woo trademark, such as the White Doves and epic gunfights? Jeff, do you have a favorite John Woo trademark in his movie? I mean, it's got to be the doves, right? Right. You see those doves, whose fucking movie you're watching. The two things him and Michael Bay do well is the spinning of the camera around the people. And I love that when you see that in a John Woo film. You guys should see John in a movie when the camera spins around. He's sitting there. He's just like... Yeah, I am, because I think it works well and not everyone can make it happen. Let's see. John Sneider. Oh, Jeff's brother's in here. Hey, gents, quick question. For Star Wars to evolve, it needs an auteur to do what Denis did for Dune. It needs the scale of Dune and the quality of Andor.
Will we ever get a Nolan Star Wars? Any news on films? Will we get a Yahya Abdul-Mateen Jedi film? Your thoughts on this, Jeff?
I don't know. I mean, again, guys, enough with the Star Wars. Like, if there's fucking something Star Wars, I'll let you know.
Well, I mean, to be fair, he sent this an hour ago, so
I know. Okay, forgive me. I mean, thank you for sending in a Streamlab. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be dismissive about your Star Wars questions. I know everybody wants to know what's going on with Star Wars. I get it.
Yeah. Try not to shoot the gun.
I like a Trump impression there. Right?
I'll let you know when I'm ready. It's the best Star Wars. It's great.
What's going on with the Star Wars?
Oh, man. Mike Joyce said, here's what I'll say. I don't think there's going to be space for an auteur to come in. I don't think that's what they want. They want general crowd-pleasing entertainment that doesn't hurt anybody's feelings, but still feels somewhat dark and edgy when they need it to, but still be able to play with the children and make all those kinds of things. So I just don't. Andor is an anomaly. There's a reason it's a fucking anomaly. Even Rogue One still has those moments of humor or whatever. There is hardly any humor in Andor, which is what makes it such an anomaly, such a great possibility. But that's not the natural tendency of things, so you're not going to see that, I don't think. Mike Joyce says, when Michael Scott left under Mifflin, he formed his own paper company. Jeff, if you were to start your own outlet with Rocha, what would you name it? Oh, man.
I have thought of so many names over the last few weeks. I mean, obviously, today's situation has been brewing for quite some time.
Yeah.
I've given it a lot of thought. I've looked at URLs and different things like that. It's crazy how much a fucking URL costs these days.
Uh-huh.
Be some URL, people are just like parked on it, and you're like, hey, you do anything with it? And they're like, nah, man, you can have it. $5,000.
Yeah, $5,000.
$5,000 for that? Like,
yeah.
Give me a break.
It's madness. Let's see here. ODB 818 says, no question, just like the show. Appreciate what you guys do. Thank you, ODB. Very kind of you. Joseph Ashley says, are there talks already of replacing Ray Stevens' character in Ahsoka like Andy Whitfield from Spartacus? Replace Liam McIntyre, Liam Cunningham, who played Davos in Game of Thrones, or Vincent Regan of One Piece and on Netflix to play Balin would be good picks. Yeah, Jeff doesn't watch Ahsoka, so I will chime in on this. I think Vincent Regan is a great choice, but Vincent Regan doesn't have the same kind of charisma that Ray Stevenson had in the role. That's the thing. People are casting for appearance. You've got to cast for appearance and that energy that he was. I mean, he immediately became a favorite of Star Wars fans from like 2 or 3 scenes in the opening show. So you've got to find somebody who can get across like that, or else it's going to feel like Julianne Moore taking over Clarice Starling from Jodie Foster. It didn't work. And it's not because Julianne's not a fantastic actress. She is, but she couldn't quite grab the spirit of Clarice. And no one has been able to do it. Even that terrible CBS show couldn't do it. So it's like, you've got to find the right person. So it isn't just looks. You got to find the right energy. Let's see. John says, hey, Jeff Sneider and John Rocha, I was wondering, what is your thoughts on the X-Men announcement? And do you know any writers in Hollywood that it was happy that it got announced? Jeff, you were talking about people taking poops and X's and whatever. So can you clarify this X-Men announcement?
It was simply a joke. See, sometimes I'm a goofy guy and I like to make jokes. I loved how many people, Justin called last week to be like, how many people sent me your tweet? Like, oh, I'm just trying to start shit. Like, I was ribbing Justin. Justin can take it. We're good friends. And I congratulate. I said, good scoop. I was teasing him. But yes, it was a follow-up to, the X-Men story that they're going to be meeting with writers on X-Men this fall. They're going to be meeting with writers on a lot of big titles this fall. Does every single one need an announcement? That's up to, these outlets. I don't work there. Yeah.
Fair point. Just an update for you. The Bears are up 7-0 already. Justin Fields to DJ Moore for a touchdown. Fucking hell. God damn it. I'm missing my Commanders right now because I'm reading. All right. Jeff Rocha says, it's my cousin. Just read Jeff's tweets. You all are both beautiful people, bro. And we love the fuck out of y'all. Y'all are the true goats of our time, and we appreciate the quality y'all put out. Man, I appreciate the hell out of you both. Yeah, I agree, Jeff. I appreciate the hell out of us. We created this show to be a no bullshit show because there's too much bullshit in the YouTube sphere about movies.
Yeah.
And so Yeah.
Dude, and you know, I'm getting texts from friends whose opinions I trust who are saying, listen, you know, I feel for you. It's a terrible situation. You should delete those tweets. Those tweets are going to stay until I get my money in full, until every single fucking person who writes for me gets their money in full. Okay? Because these people are scared. They won't do it themselves.
Right.
It's on me. I'm responsible. I'm the one who's had to make the fucking excuses for months. Think that, you know how tough that is? I mean, it eats away at my soul. I can't sleep. Can't sleep. Look at my fucking eyes. Because of the financial anxiety. Because I don't know, geez, am I going to be able to pay rent this month? Are my writers going to be able to pay rent this month?
Good point, man.
Dude.
Yeah. Again, this is the spirit that we approach the show with, man. No bullshit, take no prisoners, tell the truth. Because
that's what everybody's supposed to do, John. Yeah, everybody's supposed to just stay shut the fuck up and suffer in silence.
Yeah.
And be, you know, like, I've been professional. Like, this has gone on way too fucking long, and it came to a head today. And I will throw it all out there. I don't care how many people tell me to delete it or shut up.
Yeah.
Burn, baby, burn. Okay, because I've never been taken advantage of like this. People have worked me to my bone. People have made me work on weekends and nights and all that stuff. And you know what? I signed up for it. I have fucking doctor's hours. Okay, 24/7. You call that fucking phone, and some big star died at 2 a.m. I'm there. Yeah. You call on the weekend. I drop when I've left dinners to fucking go work. So it's like my commitment need not be questioned.
Yeah, it's true. He left me in the middle of a steak to go work that one night. Let's take one more quick break, Jeff, and then we'll wrap up the show with 2 final Streamlabs and some review talk here because we're at the half-hour mark right after this. All right, 550 of you watching us right now. Please make sure you hit a like on this video. Hit a like. We barely get 200 likes. Come on, guys. It takes you 2 seconds to swing that mouse over there and hit the thumbs up button. If you're watching later, leave a comment as well and send in your Streamlabs. And if you want to send support, there's a super thanks button that you can click and send in however much you want to send support to the show as well. For those of you who are watching later, for sure. 2 last Streamlabs here, or 3 of them actually. Corey H says, love the show, guys. Any news on the Batman worth reporting? Couldn't think of anything else to ask. Just wanted to lend my support. Keep up the good work. Just caught the show live, which I don't usually do, and wanted to show my support. Yeah, Jeff, we anything on Batman 2? We got a new picture from the Joker 2 of Joaquin Phoenix out in the rain, but anything to say about either of those 2 films?
Okay, so I don't know what some scooper in Omaha, Nebraska has said. I don't pay for anybody's Patreons. Yeah. I don't know what's been said on Reddit. I have no fucking idea.
Okay.
Is there a rumor that the villain is going to be Hush? Maybe. Maybe that rumor exists. But I don't know if that is accurate in the least. I don't know if someone else has put it out there. Yeah. I have no idea. But I have heard whispers of a Hush.
Whisper. All right. I like the idea. Hush is I have Hush on one of my shelves over here, so it's a very good story. I'd be down to see that if that is Hush, because that's someone that is connected to Bruce Wayne from the past. So let's see. One last one here from Mike McKenzie. Did you guys check out the new Castlevania show? I think this year is the greatest year for video game adaptations. I think you're barking up the wrong tree, Mike. Sorry. Neither one of us are Castlevania people, unfortunately. But I know that's a great show. I once dated a girl who used to leave Castlevania on for her dog because it brought her dog peace and stopped it from barking. So the powers of Castlevania. Let's see. Trace Fire says, thoughts on a Robin Williams biopic, Jeff? Could we do that?
Seems inevitable, but also a little too soon.
Yeah, it still feels too soon, right? I mean, it could be 20 years from now. And that's a raw death. Like, people are still not fully over the death of Robin Williams.
Yeah, I don't need all these like immediate biopics of dead celebrities. Like, you know, like we're gonna need some time on that one.
Yeah. Don Ronaldo McWhiskey says, "Burn it all down, brother." There you go, supporting your attitude today. Mumra says, "Any scoops on Ghostbusters 4 returning cast / plot? Anything, Jeff?"
There will be ghosts. Take it to the bank, folks.
You heard it here first, folks. You heard it here.
There will be ghosts being busted.
This has been verified. Haunted_Autumn says, saw this in the chat. Vincent Regan, who plays Luffy's grandfather in One Piece, appearance and charisma to match. No, I don't. Bravo, Jeff, a good speed. You're okay too, Rocha. Haha. Yeah, I don't think he does have the charisma. I like Vincent Regan. I think he's a good actor, good British actor. I've seen him in a number of British TV shows. But he doesn't convey that shit. There's a reason he played second fiddle to Gerard Butler, y'all. There's a reason he played second fiddle to Gerard Butler, because they didn't see him as a lead for a film like that. And I just don't think that Ray Stevenson necessarily, I think Ray Stevenson exudes a different kind of male energy. No less masculine, Vincent Regan, just a different masculine energy. I don't know if it 100% works for that. All right, 2 reviews. Exorcist Believer is getting tore up here, Jeff. I know David Gordon Green came out and said, I wish William Friedkin had been alive to see it. But someone posted quotes from David Friedkin saying, the guy who directed Pineapple Express shouldn't be directing The Exorcist. I'm glad I'm not alive to see it. And I hope I die before it comes out so I can haunt the body of David Gordon Green. So it's kind of crazy to hear that. But it's at 30% on Rotten Tomatoes. That's pretty bad, or 35%, something like that. So did you see it? What are your thoughts? What are your feelings?
Did I see which one?
The Exorcist Believer.
No, I skipped it. I've been saying on this podcast for like a while now, like, have not heard good things about that movie. I've actually heard some pretty crazy stuff about that movie behind the scenes regarding multiple stars. So I had the opportunity to see The Burial that same night, and I decided to go with The Burial. And I think I was like practically the only fucking member of the press I recognized there. Everyone else went to see Exorcist Believer, and I get it. You got to go do your fucking reaction videos and do the YouTube stuff after, and it obviously is going to be the #1 movie this weekend, and Prime, The Burial is streaming on Prime Video, so I get it, right? From a business perspective, you cover The Exorcist, but from a movie fan perspective, it seemed like a no-brainer to me to go see The Burial, and I was rewarded because it was quite good, and Jamie Foxx was excellent.
That's Jamie Foxx, Tommy Lee Jones. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Loki season 2 debuts tonight. The reviews have been mostly good, but not as high as people were anticipating. It's around 80% on Rotten. When I put in my review, it was around 83%. I don't know if it's gone down, but there have been a little bit of mixed reviews from some of the top critics. Any interest in this? Did you like the Loki series season 1? What are your thoughts?
I didn't. I watched like an episode of Loki, and I was like, I'm out.
Okay. All right.
So yeah, not for me.
If you'll allow me 60 seconds, here's what I say.
I thought take 120.
Here's what I'll say. I think the casting of this is fantastic. Getting back in touch with the characters from season 1 and these fantastic actors and their connections and their chemistry and their relationships, I thought was great. Ke-Huy Quan is introduced in a really fun way. They give more to do with Casey. And I'll tell you who stands out. Rafael Casal steals a lot of the scenes that he's in here as Brad Wolf, this antagonist to both Mobius and Loki. So watch out for him as the season goes along, because I saw the first 4 episodes. He is fantastic in the show. I like the emotion of the show. I like that they kept the same production design, same outfits. They changed, right? They added Eric Martin as a writer with Michael Waldron on this. They brought the 2 directors in. I like the vibe and the feeling of this one. I like where it's going and the themes of exploring these things that you're handed when you come to existence. Should you question them more, or should you hold on to them because you're afraid to exist without it? And so I think there's something really strong going on throughout this. And they give Mobius a nice arc. Renslayer's got a nice arc, and the connection between Sophia DiMartino and Tom Hiddleston as Sylvie and Loki is just exquisite. So for me, I love the first 4 episodes, and I can't wait to see the final 2 when they drop. So I recommend it highly to you all to watch it. So no spoiler. What spoilers? What spoilers? There's no spoilers. Brad Wolf's in the cast. That's all I'm telling you. Brad Wolf's in the cast. Jesus. 85% on Rotten Tomatoes. That's good. That's good. Rishi Shukla says, Jeff, you're the best. Your takes and stories always make me smile. This period of time will just be a hiccup in your journey towards what you deserve. Rocha, you the man too. Oh, thank you, Rishi.
Thank you, Rishi. That's very sweet of you. I appreciate that.
It's very kind. JMB says, never forget, Jeff, you are smart enough. You're good enough. And gosh darn it, people like you. I kid. Also, Chow Yun fat and hard boiled, covered in flour. The second he finishes off a guy. Yes, that was a great situation. That was awesome as well. What about Jonathan Majors? He's in the show. And I look, that's a separate case. I wasn't witness to any of that. So the legal process is playing out on that. If you want my opinion of him in the show, I think he's fantastic in the show. So that's my opinion. I saw some reviewers going, it's really uncomfortable to watch this show because he's in it. It's like, were you there? Do you know he did what he did? Or are we still innocent till proven guilty in this country? So I get that you may have an issue with it. Lord knows I did when the accusations came out. But you've got to also let the legal process play out. And you're going to be sensitive like this as a reviewer. Well, it's going to be a slippery slope. And you're not going to be able to review fuck all if you start to look at people's actual personal lives in history. You can't review Brando. You can't review Orson Welles or some of the stuff that he did. I mean, you're going to start cherry picking of what you can and can't review, and that's a dangerous slope. So all I can do is assess what he did in the show, and he's damn good in the show. That's what I'll say. And if he assaulted that woman, he deserves every fucking punishment you can give to someone for assaulting someone in that way. But there's a lot of conflicting testimony there, so I'm not going to get caught up in the moral quandary of all that nonsense. My personal opinion. So, Drew 914 says, sending some love, keep doing what you do. There you go. All right, Jeff, I think that's all the Streamlabs and Super Chats. We're a little bit over, so shall we wrap it up? Any final words or anything you wanted to talk about?
My final words today are to the disenfranchised watching this video.
Okay.
Stand up for yourself.
Absolutely. Always stand up for yourself.
Stand up for yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can find me at lamag.com and Twitter.
At the Sneider. Go and follow him, ladies and gentlemen. As for me, at The Rocha Says on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, The Outlaw Nation on Twitch, my YouTube channel, youtube.com/John Rocha Says. And I think, in my podcast, the Cinephiles, the Geek Buddies, and the Hot Mic that are out there for you all to enjoy, and our spoiler reviews from the Jedi Way and the Geek Buddies are out for Ahsoka. My initial review non-spoiler review for Loki is out right now. And I'll have more coming up in the next few days. But until then, y'all take care of yourselves. Be well. And we'll talk to you next time with another brand new episode here of the Hot Mic. Enjoy the weekend, everybody. Peace.